peace. Bam. Happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. This vibration coming up strongly, this download for us to, come together on the community vibes, to, let go of our egos, to connect. And I just came across an article where the title was "My Soul is Screaming to Get the Tribe Together." And I'm like, all right, it ain't just no, you know what I'm saying? Because of course I wasn't looking for that confirmation, because I've been working on that aspect of like just trusting my intuition, trusting the flow, because I already made a video about this, trusting, that these polygamy vibes I've been, coming across, not necessarily polygamy in that manner, but in some way, form or fashion, us connecting, and reproducing, on a community, level, and bringing more, star seeds, more souls, more gods into this realm. But, within this article, I want to share a little bit from the article, and I'm going to get into other aspects. But it's talking about a rat experiment. Matter of fact, we think about the Skinner box. The Skinner box is what they do, the little experiments on the rats, the little boxes they put the rats in. But long story short, they had a rat that was by itself. And he had some water and some heroin, as two little, drinking options. Well, him being by himself, he drunk on the heroin or whatever, took a little taste of the heroin, and he ended up becoming, addictive. Of course, heroin is addictive regardless, but, he went towards that decision of the heroin and, and just, getting high because he's by himself, It's almost like that was his only form of entertainment. But then when they put the rat in a community with some other rats, and they had the same thing in there. They had some water, and they had as a matter of fact, and it probably wasn't straight heroin, because that probably would have killed that rat. Probably some heroin in some water, but you had the heroin in the water, and they put the rat in a box with other rats. Well, when he was in that box with the other rats, he was enjoying, interacting with those other rats and, being together with them, that he basically stopped dealing with the heroin and started drinking regular water, because his high, in essence, was due to life and experiencing that community vibe, Because, as a matter of fact, addiction to substances is what replaced that desire to connect, in essence. Remember, I did that video about overeating or eating at night is basically a sign that you lacking some sexual, connection. Like you're not your sexual center is like closed, in essence. So you're looking for that desire, that pleasure through eating a lot of food, through tingling your taste buds, Like like same thing with the herb. I find for myself, like, ain't nothing wrong with, smoking the herb. Like, everything has its place, This is a balanced realm of reality. We balance our things. Sometimes, it's the light and the dark, the hot, the cold, And sometimes it is a beneficial thing to be on the vibration of smoking the herb, especially when you're smoking healthy herb and and not dealing with it in an apparatus like these old poisonous cigarette loads. But long story short, a lot of us, dealing with that smoke on that level because of, we lacking that community, that connection. And then too, spending all these hours on social media, texting and, calling without really interacting with people, that's taking a toll on our soul. And indirectly, we don't know what's, because we're not, some of it, we're just getting into this information to some extent. So it's new to us, to know, like, what's going on with me, why I'm eating a lot like this, or why I feel some kind of way, But, spending all those hours on social media, that made me think about, like, that's why a lot of us don't like, talking on the phone or texting, because we don't feel that interaction like you do when you're face to face, Like, and that's something that we, on a soul level, we value that interaction of, connecting. And just right now, it's just getting to that point of, of remembering, literally and figuratively speaking. Remember, getting the members back together, building the community, coming together. And too, that's why I called that download on the vibe of like to make that video where I spoke on how they promote cult, like, so they put cults like in this light, you know, these communities that's basically like they promote these cults in most cases to make the community seem like it's some type of, oh, these people crazy, look at them, you know, connecting and having sex and connecting to the earth and you know, and taking themselves out of society. They must be a cult, you know what I'm saying? Like they paint that picture and put that out there because they knew it was social engineering. They was preparing for this moment. They knew that once we start all getting online that we was going to start connecting, linking up, and creating communities. So it's that vibe until you see how everything comes full circle. Why some of us deal with real estate, some of us you know, because again, another thing too, like, you know, as much as we don't want to hold on to the old paradigms, you know, we're moving into this new place, you know, it's you know, now is the vibrate. We doing you know, taking the steps of what's best in the moment, moving forward to a place where it could be, you know, where it's going to get more and more to the fact of where we're going to be disconnected from the system. But, you know, starting off is like using the system in essence to pull away from it, if that makes sense. Like, you know, because once we start building up things through, you know, the energy of revenue or you know, currency of money, then we could set up a situation where we don't even have to use money anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like using the money to not have to use money, if that makes sense. You know, so it's you know, it's that aspect as well. But we are remembering, getting the members back together and remembering on all levels, you know, and that soul level. Because matter of fact, like, that's the thing too, you're probably experiencing that vibe where it feels scary to you because we, you know, we may be still looking at these aspects from the point of our ego. And when we looking at it from our ego, man, that shit gonna seem like Freddy Krueger. You know, that shit gonna seem like Jason. It's gonna seem like a monster, you know what I'm saying? Whatever little monsters, you know what I'm saying, which you shouldn't fear or anything. But just say, you know, as a little kid growing up, you know, we probably had these little monsters we were scared of. And that's why a lot of us feel like that. And look, we uniquely on our growth, because some of us are how can I say, I forgot why I was gonna go there, but just the aspect of two, you know, we all have a unique soul purpose, and some of us are on a walk where, say for instance, it may be like, say for like I always say, it might be meant for some people to be in the mountains meditating all day away from everybody, because that's what their life, you know, that's what their lesson is in this lifetime, you know what I'm saying? And some of us may still cling on to the European vibes of having you know, marriage, you know, or getting married, you know, things of this nature. But for the most part, you know, seeing that, you know, the universe is speaking to this vibe of us, you know, again, coming into this community, into this, you know, this, I don't like to use the word tribe in essence, you know, because it makes it seem like, cause on the wordplay thing, tribe kind of almost points to almost like war, like, you know, like tribes warring against each other. So it's not really necessarily like that, but, you know, just our families and communities coming together, you know, and I pictured that, like seeing like a vibe of like, you know, and two, dropping the ego to a point where, like, say for instance, you know, where I may be dealing with multiple queens, but it may be a situation where a queen meant to connect with another king. And I gotta, you know, like stand back out of ego and say this is what's best on the energetic level for what we're doing in this realm of reality in this lifetime. You know, it's not about, matter of fact, even further back than the universe, it's not about Carl Ray and what he grew up learning from his parents and what society taught Carl Ray. It's about moving into this new paradigm on a soulful level, you know, being that no thing, having the experience and stepping into this place of bringing in a new world, because you can't bring in nothing new holding on to old things, you know. And again, it's not nothing that we should beat ourselves up about, or this, you know, like we all on different levels, because I see how, you know, we all uniquely, you know, grow to certain things, you know, like say for instance, we all get different downloads with clarity before others do. due to our unique wiring. Because I remember, again, Queen's been kind of, speaking on that, like, like, hey, when the community gonna start? I go straight up, like, like when we gonna start like coming together, you know what I'm saying, on that type of vibe. But again, it's like it's like making that shift at the right moment, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like where we get the downloads or the premonitions about certain things, but it's not for us to act upon it in that moment extremely, right then and there, as much as it's like, and I don't, and say for instance, now it's the vibrate at all times, but and say for instance like this, that's why our higher self don't give us that urge until it's that time, like, all right, now I'll make this happen. Because of course, shit, from the beginning of, since I was born, let's say for instance, we should have been in high school talking about, hey, we need to come together like this, you know what I'm saying? But we wasn't at that point because our higher self hadn't delivered that information to us yet, and things weren't to a place where we could do it, because it's also a strategy. Again, they got things set up to where if you go to probably, setting a community up on so many levels, again, to make it look like a cult, to try to do something about it or things of this nature, which we ain't even going in that realm of fear of worrying about that, but it's just awareness, stepping into that, But yeah, we get to a place of just, again, like letting other beings know we are wanting to connect, and connecting more, conversation, and again, as we talk about this, it ain't no just sexual thing and just reproduction, it's just connection on all level, on a face-to-face vibe, and I think about too, like, coming across a queen and just the vibe of us, like how much it was therapy for a strong hug, like a hug where you just, hug and don't just like and back off. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, feel each other, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, we've been taught subconsciously by this, by this society to, take ourselves away from our true being, and now it's time, we getting that message, like it's time to remember, literally and figuratively speaking again. And matter of fact, a queen gave a beautiful statement on this. Like she said, it's all about, like just speaking on a connection with me, and like it was like love without ego creating expectations. And I'm like, and another thing too, us being vulnerable, like a vulnerable connection, like, you have to be open to this, again, that's that egoic mind got us rigid in that, oh man, what my parents gonna think, what my family gonna think, they're gonna think I'm crazy, they're gonna think I'm in a cult, because again, and look at how the shit's set up to do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, they're going, yeah, that's, and they put it out there to also, again, so if you paying attention to all that, it's going to seem scary for you. And again, of course, because we're not used to it, of course, it's like we bird boxing, of course, we got, we're not used to it, and it's going to have some type of, anxiety towards stepping into that realm. But, the more and more we get in alignment with higher self, eating healthier, meditating, staying in the moment, getting out our thoughts, you know what I'm saying? Because most cases is the thoughts. Think about it. False evidence appearing real. You in your thoughts about polygamy, or in your thoughts about community and coming together, or, doing these things. And when you're in your thoughts about it, it may create a certain fear, because, again, false evidence appearing real, like you're looking at it, and it hasn't even happened. You don't know how it's gonna go down. Like you putting it in a negative light. You don't know if everything gonna just roll through, perfectly, or for whatever perfectly mean. But like very smoothly, But love without ego creating expectations. I love you. I want to connect with you. I don't have the expectations of knowing if you're gonna be my wife, or like on the vice versa, or you're gonna be my husband. But, again, is a love, is a connection there, And again, I done spoke to our, that fear of intimacy, that fear of connection, due to feeling sex is distasteful or taboo. But that's more so, again, back to the social engineering. They promote sex in a sexual deviant light. So it makes certain people that don't see other information, that don't go read and see, about tantra or like just ancient ways of dealing with sex. When you don't go into that type of information and you right there with that fear, like, oh no, you can't, like sex is bad, like it creates a block, and here it is where you blocking yourself sexually, due to some type of subconscious programming. So, again, it tries to create a fear of intimacy and a fear of connection due to feeling sex is like taboo or distasteful or something like that. But, and again, like, with the rat experiment and speaking on how, like we tend to lead towards, if it's not like some type of substance, to drink, smoke, or whatever, then we're again eating a lot. Like you're eating, like trying to create some type of indulgence of something to create some, blissful feeling, instead of getting high for life and getting high for each other. You know what I'm saying? Because I do realize, as much as I make that vibe, like, don't get lost in somebody else's sauce, but it's all right for us to, like, on a connection level, you know what I'm saying, on a let's just say the representation of the masculine and feminine energy on no matter what level it represents, it's all right to get lost in the, and I say lost, let me not say it like that. It's all right for us to, get high off of each other, and, and when I mean high, like, being in each other's vortexes, and we're just in that blissful state of connection, because I realize how extremely we be in the now whenever we like having, and it don't have to be the intimate level of touching. It could just be like a sapiosexual conversation, like just talking and running, but just coming together. And like I realized within my experience that most of the time it was always talking with people and connecting with people will put me in my now, more so like whenever I'm by myself. Of course, by myself time works, and have that time of meditation. But you got that little area of that, and then it's like wanting to connect with somebody, And again, just being social on any level. Again, like just a simple conversation. And again, it's just not about like even with friendship, with men, being brethrens or sisterins, you know what I'm saying? It's like us just being more social, connecting, not social, no fake thing, being authentic, not trying to force nothing. Now, of course, it's gonna seem a little forced because we on a Maymester learning curve, you know what I'm saying? We gotta kind of, do our best to learn about each other and deal with each other, in a quote unquote faster pace, but not to a point of where we're rushing it and and messing up the connection, because nothing should be rushed, but just being in the moment, and again too, like whatever the moment calls for, for the most part, higher self don't call us to rush in the sense of being like, oh, like sporadic, like that type of vibe. But the higher self might ask for us to, hey, you might want to put a little pep into your step right here, or you might want to slow down right here. You know what I'm saying? It's ebb and flow is different, different strokes for different folks and different things at different times, as far as what we're dealing with. But it's basically it. I just wanted to share that vibe of seeing how, again, seems like it's a common vibe for us to, again, like the article say, my soul is screaming to get the tribe together, get the family together, get the community together, and remember, remember to remember. I'm gonna go on that note. Remember to remember. And also, I did the video on it already, but that Shiva Lingam, definitely a good little crystal to work with right now on so many levels, dealing with the Kundalini energy, dealing with the community vibes, dealing with getting the sexual balance, not being sexual deviant, but at the same time not being sexually closed down, also a connection to to Shiva Shakti, that Shiva Kalima energy, that destroyer aspect, destroying the old paradigm and creating a new one, so definitely with that as well. But that's basically it. Whew. I see. I wasn't all long and verbose. I'm getting back to. But yeah, just right now, again, that's just the vibe of what I'm seeing come through a lot. Just dealing with that. And again, doing the same thing, expecting different results is insanity. That's why we be in these lesson loops, because the universe be trying to show us, like, bro, you doing the same shit over and over, but then you're looking for different results. So I'm gonna put you in this loop so strongly to where you could see the insanity of it, so you could make that decision to pull yourself out of that loop. That's why we get pushed into those loops so strongly. The more and more we ignore the lesson, the more and more we procrastinate on working with it, it brings it to our, forefront even stronger. But more so, again, to help us, get, to do something different, to change that results. Because again, you're not gonna get something different doing the same thing. You're not gonna do something different rebuilding America, making America great again. And that was great. I'll put it like this. It was great before it was even called America. You know what I'm saying? Like, before that existed, maybe. I'm with that vibe. Like, yeah, we could make it great again on that level. But again, doing different things, to get those different results. And again, we all on our growth. Don't be mad at yourself. Don't be angry. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel like, oh man, like, cause that's comparing yourself, like, oh man, Universal or so and so at this point, man, I feel guilty. I know you shouldn't feel guilty. You just know what you gotta do. Don't be guilty. Don't be angry. Don't be mad at yourself. Do what you gotta do. That's what it is. But peace. Bam. Happy now. Now's the vibrate, of course. And we're not going too far in the future. We're not going too far in the past. Right now. Coming together. Magnetic energy. Peace, y'all.